Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. So I've done pretty well so far. I've stayed above 500. Hopefully I can continue to do that. But let's go into week 12. And we got a lot of good games, a lot of Thanksgiving games. This is going to be a really important week for a lot of teams. It's going to swing a lot of teams either up or down for the rest of the year. So let's get into it. First up, we got the Texans and Lions. If you see me looking down, it's me looking at these games. Texans and Lions. Texans are 2-point favorites, 2.5-point favorites. I say the Texans will keep it going. They've got Deshaun Watson. He's been having a really good season, but it hasn't shown up in the win column. I think he's better than Matthew Stafford. I think he'll be able to will his team past a team like the Lions. They're not necessarily crazily talented. So I'm picking the Texans to go ahead and cover this 2.5-point spread. I think that they'll cover it by more than a touchdown. And then we got something that I'm personally invested in as a Giants fan, Washington versus the Cowboys. Thanksgiving Day. You know this is going to be a heated matchup. You know they're going to both be up for it no matter how bad these two teams are, no matter how bad the NFC East is. Washington is coming in as a 3-point underdog against Dallas. I think that the Washington football team will upset Dallas. I think their defensive line, just like they did in that first game against Andy Dalton, their defensive line is so ferocious. They're so good that I think they're just a bad matchup for the Cowboys this year. It's a really bad matchup. Dallas's offensive line has not been healthy all year. So I'll pick Washington to win and a close one. It'll be a really close game. I don't see it being a blowout like last time, but I expect Washington to win this one in a close game. And the Ravens and Steelers. This is going to be another good game. I think that Lamar Jackson, he pretty much lights the league on fire. He usually beats everyone but the teams that are among the top of the league and the teams that he absolutely needs to beat. So this is another test for Lamar Jackson. Can he come in and beat the Steelers team? He put up a nice fight last time. I think he threw a pick six, though. That was probably the difference in that game. He's got to come out and win this game. They're 3-point underdogs. But I'm going to pick the Ravens to win this game and finally end the Steelers' season of being undefeated. He's just too good to. He lost to the Titans last week. He's too good to lose 2 games in a row, and he's too good to just get swept like this. So I expect Lamar to bounce back and finally beat the Steelers. This may be a convincing win, but I'm not going to go that far, but I think that they'll beat the Steelers. Then we got the Titans and Colts. Titans are 4-point underdogs because they have fallen from grace. They started off, I think, 5-0, 6-0, and I think they lost to the Steelers, and ever since then they've been up and down. They had an impressive win last week against Baltimore. We just talked about that. But I think every week I pick the Titans and I pick against the Colts. So if I'm going to continue to do that, listen, one way you can look, maybe the Colts will finally prove me right and they'll lose this week. And another way is the Colts keep proving me wrong, so why not go with the Colts? I think I'll pick the Titans here. I'll pick the Titans here, picking against the Colts again, picking against Phillip Rivers again. Hopefully they don't prove me wrong this time. Derrick Henry, I expect to take over this game. They're coming off of a great win. Mike Vrabel is going to have those guys ready, and I think they will be ready against the Indianapolis Colts. Then Panthers and Vikings. This game, these two teams are pretty much around the same as far as levels of talent to me. The Panthers have been getting better throughout the year. P.J. Walker, they might just want to stick with him for the rest of the year, besides Teddy Bridgewater, just to see what they have. He was the XFL MVP, so that's a little something. Matt Rule has this team improving just the same way that Joe Judge has the Giants improving in New York. But I'll pick the Panthers to beat this. Listen, they're 4-point underdogs, and they don't necessarily have the firepower to compete with Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. You think that they should just be able to outscore them, but I'm going to just go out on a limb and say that the Panthers will upset the Vikings. They're a 4-point underdog, so take it. Then we got Chargers and the Bills. Now, the Chargers, let me get this out of the way. The Chargers are 5.5-point underdogs, and this to me, if you're a betting man, or if you're a betting woman, or if you're a betting person, I would take this bet. Chargers are 5.5-point underdogs against the Bills. And listen, when you look at Justin Herbert and you look at Josh Allen, they're the same guy. You know, when you look at Justin Herbert and Mahomes and they played each other earlier in the season, it was a back and forth matchup. The Chargers have got weapons all over the place. Justin Herbert's been putting up points. I mean, like 2-3 touchdowns or more every week. Josh Allen has been up and down. But I think that the Chargers will be able to score more points than the Bills. This is a hefty line. So at the very least, I expect this to be a close game if they end up losing. That being said, I'll pick Justin Herbert to upset the Bills as a 5.5-point underdog. That spread is huge to me. And then we got the Giants and the Bengals. I'll link my Giants and Bengals preview video up here somewhere, or have it in the annotations, or there's no more annotations, but I'll have it up here somewhere for you guys to click on. But the Giants are 5.5-point favorites against the Bengals. This is a generous spread, but it's not like the Giants are world beaters. They're going against the Bengals, who picked first overall last year, who pretty much addressed the receiving position, but have not really gotten better on the offensive line, and that's why Joe Burrow ended up going out. Ryan Finley looked lost last week, but he'll have a week to prepare, so I expect him to be a little bit more ready. But at the end of the day, the Giants are the better football team than the Bengals without Joe Burrow. I expect them to cover that 5.5-point spread, and I don't expect this game to be close at all. Next, we got the Dolphins as a 6.5-point favorite versus the Jets. They'll cover the spread. The Jets are horrible. Doesn't matter who their quarterback is. It seems like Joe Flacco is getting some more explosive plays out of this offense than Sam Darnold, which is kind of proving me wrong because I thought Sam Darnold was like a top tier, not an elite guy, but I thought he was a good young quarterback. But Joe Flacco seems to be getting more out of the offense. That being said, the Dolphins defense is not going to allow Rashad Perryman to just run down the field and get a 50, 60-yard touchdown. The Dolphins should blow the Jets out. They should win by 14 or more points. Then we got the Raiders as a 3-point favorite against the Falcons. The Raiders are a great team. They lost at the end of the game against Mahomes, but it seems like Mahomes just activated a cheat code at the end of that game. No one could stop him at that point. And I expect more of the same from the Raiders, except they're not playing Mahomes. They're playing the Falcons, and the Falcons have proven to be horrible. They just got lit up by Taysom Hill. So the Raiders have a better offensive line. They got a better defense. They've got better everything, and they're only 3-point favorites. I expect them to win this game by 10 or more. Then we got the Cardinals. This is an interesting game right here. They're 2.5-point favorites against the Patriots. Just the same way that I picked the Patriots against the Ravens, I'm going to pick the Patriots again against Kyler Murray. He's not the exact same as Lamar Jackson, but I think Bill Belichick is going to have a good game plan for pretty much every running kind of quarterback he plays against this year. We'll see how it goes, but it's just all about how Cam Newton does. If he can make that extra play to win the game, usually if he does, they end up winning. If not, then they end up losing. That being said, I think the spread is it's really generous, 2.5 points. That seems about right for this game if the Cardinals or Patriots were to win. I'll pick the Patriots to win this particular week just because of Bill Belichick, and I think that he's going to try to make a push for the playoffs. He's got to beat out the Dolphins. He's got to beat out the Bills. He's not going to win his division at this point, but he'll have a shot at that 7th seed if they keep winning. 49ers and Rams. 49ers are 7-point underdogs. The Rams are playing out of their minds. They just beat Tom Brady yesterday in primetime. The Rams are getting better and better every week. They've got weapons. They've got the scheme. They've got the defense. Ramsey and Donald are playing out of their mind. Their second corner is playing out of his mind. They're just getting too good, and the 49ers are so banged up, and they're kind of lost at this point of the season. This game will probably look competitive at the beginning, but eventually the Rams are going to make a couple of plays that are going to turn them over, and it's not going to be pretty at the end of the day. Then we got the Saints against the Broncos. The Saints are 5.5-point favorites with Taysom Hill against the Broncos. This game is going to be a very tightly contested game because Taysom Hill is going to start the second week in a row. And do you honestly expect Taysom Hill not to turn the ball over? Do you expect him to do what he did last week? I don't expect that. I expect the Broncos to come out and fight. And I still expect the Saints to win. but the Saints will not win by 5 or more. If they do, it'll be like a last-second close game kind of thing. Either way, Saints are still going to win. Then we got a primetime game, the Chiefs and the Bucs. This is a highly anticipated game. Chiefs are 3-point favorites. I'm going to run with the Chiefs for this week. I just think that they're coming out too hot, and they haven't been shown to be stopped the last couple of weeks. And at this point, Mahomes is kind of coming out of left field to make a push for MVP. For a while, it looked like it was Russell Wilson. Then it looked like it was Brady for a couple of weeks, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, and then he ended up losing last week. That kind of disappeared, that talk. I think that the Chiefs will win this game. This has the potential to get bad, but I don't think it will. I just think the Chiefs will end up winning probably by a possession or less. Check this out. I think this is the biggest spread of the week. It is. The Bears are 8.5-point underdogs to the Packers. And that Bears defense is so good, and it's so sad to watch them go to waste because of Nick Foles. Nick Foles is missing these Bears receivers all over the field, whether he's missing them throwing it, whether he's missing them just because he doesn't see it. He is a liability. I expect him to probably be benched. He should have been benched weeks ago. Sadly, this spread is about right. 8.5 points against the Packers. Aaron Rodgers is going to have a field day. It doesn't matter how good their defense is. There's not going to be any pressure from the offensive side. It's probably going to end up being a lot of short fields because of turnovers, because of just not being able to move the ball. So the Bears will end up losing by 8 or more. And then our last game is the Seahawks against the Eagles. And who knows what we'll get from the Eagles? Who knows? Like, literally, we never know what we'll get from the Eagles. They could come out right now and compete with this team and beat this team, but more than likely, Carson Wentz will come out. He'll turn the ball over a couple of times. All we need is Russell Wilson not to turn the ball over, and they should win this game by 5 or more points. If Russell Wilson doesn't turn the ball over, the Eagles secondary is very suspect. They've got a nice pass rush. If the Eagles secondary has to end up trying to cover DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett for too long, it's going to get bad, and this could end up being like a season-ending kind of loss where it's just so demoralizing and the Eagles end up losing. But, I had to spend an extra long amount of time talking about this Eagles game because I can't wait to watch them lose and lose badly to the Seahawks. So those are my picks for the week. You guys let me know what I got right, what I got wrong, and let me know what your bold predictions are for the week. So if you made it this deep into the video, definitely hit that subscribe button. I make Giants content, NFL content, so all NFL fans are welcome here. And until next time, it's Diggy546, and I'm out.